Today, a towering location with bold tastes, plus a trek to where the buffalo roam in Hinton and a tour of a classic mansion in Claremore.
Travel with AAA's Discover Oklahoma.
Hi, and welcome to AAA's Discover Oklahoma. I'm Jennifer Reynolds.
And I'm Dean O'Lally.
We're coming to you from a place with a towering reputation already, Aravali, a beautiful restaurant in a beautiful place.
You mentioned towering, and that fits because we're in the Rotunda area right off the Devon Energy Center, and it's just a magnificent place.
We're talking about destinations that are great both indoors and outdoors. And of course, the Devon Tower outside has redefined the Oklahoma City landscape. But inside, there's this amazing, vibrant energy. And really, there is a pun intended there because this is one of the leading oil and gas companies in the world.
And now, if you're like us, admittedly not movers and shakers in the oil and gas industries, you can still soak up some of that Devon excitement, and it all begins right about here.
Devon Energy's 50-story, almost 850-foot tall structure is Oklahoma's tallest building and can be seen from miles away. This independent oil and natural gas company has been blazing a trail for others to follow for years. And this year alone, they will invest $7 billion in oil and gas projects in North America, and that includes $1.8 billion in Oklahoma. But there's a small shop right off the Rotunda that's blazing a trail of its own, so to speak, and it's called Aravali. It's styled as an upscale European-style coffee shop and bakery. They serve breakfast and lunch items, gelato, and Illy brand coffee, which has been called the Starbucks of Europe.
Well, it's very important to us and very important to us as a company. Our parent company, Guggenheimer, very strongly supports the movement towards scratch-made cooking with an emphasis on healthy preparation and, of course, hormone-free products, nitrate-free products, things of that nature. Our gelato, for instance, cage-free eggs, milk, sugar. It's very pure, flavored with only the best in purees and chocolates and things like that. There's a lot of passion that goes into that operation.
That passion can be found in everything they do, from their seasonal lunch menu and breakfast items such as quiche muffins and scones and scratch-made donuts. But in the afternoon, it's all about the gelato and coffee.
We spin it fresh every day. One of our big sort of promotions with the gelato is that we want to make sure that we serve the best product. We've taken a lot of time to really perfect the recipe, really perfect the process, and we want to make sure that our guests get that. So we're very focused on a couple things. One, of course, the flavor, and two, the texture. The last thing that's crucial, of course, is the presentation. We know folks eat with their eyes first, so we want to have them be able to walk by the shop and see all the beautiful colors, and the flavors will come after that. So if we can get them to come in based on the appearance, we know once they taste it, they're going to be hooked.
And speaking of hooked, their Illy brand coffee is like the sun melting a long winter snow. It's an Italian product, and it's amazing. Its strength, taste, and aroma will gently lift you to another level, almost as high as the Devon Tower itself.
The Illy beans have a beautiful flavor, very little bitterness, and just come with a delicious sweet crema on the top. So when you make your espresso, the very top layer is this very airy, light, golden texture of what's called a crema, and that's really what makes a delicious espresso, and the Illy coffee provides it every single time.
And Damien and Philip honed in on the different recipes, adjusting along the way, all the while with their customers in mind.
We definitely tried to identify with what folks here wanted to eat, and we found at the same time that some of the choices and the selections have changed and adapted to some of the things that we're serving. So some of those more European pastries and Danishes that we thought might be a little difficult to sell have actually become some of our more popular items.
Aravali, truly a towering achievement in flavor and style.
Well, you had to know that if there was gelato, do you know what's going to be in a professional opinion?
It's just so good. It is so good. You know, actually, gelato is actually healthier than ice cream.
Oh, that's excellent. That's good to know. But if you eat that whole thing...
I'm going to be ironing my jeans on the driveway.
And I'm going to tell you, if I drink all these coffees and you have all that, I think we're going to need some protein.
It's a good thing you mentioned protein, because I did find out, did you know that buffalo meat is actually leaner? It's a leaner kind of meat that you can get.
You know, it's good stuff, and we have found a place in Hinton where the buffalo still roam. Wichita Buffalo Company is our agritourism adventure of the week. James Stepp has always felt at home on the range. He counts being raised on the family farm among his many good fortunes. And even during his 35 years away from the land working in the computer industry, he found himself daydreaming about moments like these.
I'll ride out in the middle of the herd with my four-wheel and just turn it off and just sit there while they're around me, and they're just sort of snorting to each other, and you know, they really look at me as part of the herd.
James says the connection he feels to these iconic creatures goes far beyond this swath of Oklahoma prairie they share. These animals are a window into our collective past.
It's a great, sad part of our history that we almost slaughtered this out of existence, this magnificent animal. Down in about 1885, it was actually very, very difficult to even find one anywhere. And that was down from 60 million, you know, just probably 50 years before that. And so they were slaughtered ruthlessly, as though they would exist forever.
Thanks to breeding and conservation efforts, the bison are back with a population of about 500,000 today. And a good number of those buffalo roam around Hinton because years ago, James and his wife Sandy took a leap of faith to help pioneer a buffalo meat industry in our state.
And if you go up to North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, even Colorado, people had been eating buffalo for a long time. But here, it was a very unknown. And so we had to do lots of taste tests and get people to taste it. We gave a lot of it away. And it was very difficult to get it into stores because they didn't know that you could eat it either.
Once folks try buffalo, most find they really love it. And when they learn about the healthy, respectful way these animals are treated here at Sandy Springs Farms, they crave it even more.
We raise our buffalo without ever confining them. We don't give them any growth hormones. We don't give them antibiotics.
Bison tastes like beef, but it's leaner, low in cholesterol, and high in iron. It makes the meat look red even as you cook it. And everyone who learns a little bit seems to want to know a little more.
We just got, you know, calls all the time. We'd love to come out and see your buffalo.
So without even planning to, Sandy and James found themselves with an agritourism destination on their hands.
We've had hay rides. People want to go out in the midst of the herd and see them up close and personal. We've had bus tours, you know, senior groups, church groups, school groups, Girl Scout groups, Red Hat groups that just want to come out.
On the afternoon we visited, there was an adorable group of Red Hatters learning the heritage skill of basket weaving. You can sign up for a class on the Sandy Springs Farms website.
We'll have a meal. We can serve, like today we're going to have buffalo burgers, but we've also done buffalo fillet, ribeye steak, buffalo ribs, and we always usually do a presentation. People are infinitely fascinated by buffalo.
Wichita Buffalo Company at Sandy Springs Farms has become a popular spot for reunions and wedding receptions and all kinds of parties, maybe because the sight of roaming buffalo speaks directly to our Okie spirits, or because here in Hinton, most everybody feels right at home on the range. For more information on the Wichita Buffalo Company, to schedule a tour or find out where to buy the delicious meats that company produces, just go to the Discover Oklahoma page at travelok.com. And with plenty of deep-rooted destinations across our state, agritourism is Oklahoma's growing adventure.
All right, you need to stay right where you are because coming up next.
You're going to eat more gelato.
Absolutely.
And we're going to combine food, beauty, and history. We'll show you how and where when AAA's Discover Oklahoma continues right after this. Don't go away.
We had some family members that had switched to AAA and they kept telling us how much money they were saving and found out they could save us money too. And so we ended up switching. We have 3 kids and there's not a lot of money left at the end of every month. It ended up saving us quite a bit. Our car insurance alone saved us probably about $600. Any money you can save during the month and have some left over, that's a pretty big deal. Having insurance is important. Having affordable insurance that you can trust is a blessing.
approximately a year and a half ago, my friend Gary Wise, who I go to church with, had become a AAA agency, and he had asked me, he said, let's just check, see what we can do.
We tried to compare apples to apples to his current coverage.
And my premium went down $800 for the same insurance for this house. I was tickled. I mean, $800 is a lot of money. Go see Gary. Get your AAA insurance. It's head and shoulders above the rest of the companies.
Welcome back to AAA's Discover Oklahoma. We are forward exploring this week with an indoor-outdoor theme.
And our next destination is stunning both indoors and out. We're talking about the beautiful Belvedere Mansion in Claremore, and it's a location steeped in history, beauty, and style.
When first walking into the very welcoming Belvedere Mansion, the entire feeling of the home is unique unto itself. The woodwork alone is magnificent and quite ornate. One can't help but be a little bit awestruck, mostly because of the architecture and design.
The home was built with an open gallery feature instead of an open staircase feature. So you're able to stand in the middle of the foyer and gaze up through the second floor, through the third floor ballroom, and even out through the roof.
There are self-guided tours, and with the house being built at the end of the Victorian era in 1907, you will find charm and sophistication, and one of the big attractions is the Belvedere Tea Room. While the house has a wonderful ambiance to it, that is combined with the fact that the tea room serves a delicious lunch every day. People come here for the experience as well as the good food.
We're basically a soup and sandwich. Because we are rather limited on our facilities. We maintain the integrity of the house, but we do have a unique chicken salad that we like to offer. But the gentlemen we know like a good roast beef, always good hot soups. We have specialty salads that we offer, and of course our baked potato has gone over very well.
Their desserts range from triple chocolate cake to cheesecake, and when people come here, whether to tour the mansion or to have lunch, it's a special occasion, and there are numerous special occasions, events, and fundraisers throughout the year. Christmas at the Belvedere is always one of their main fundraisers. There's a fun gift shop as well, where you can browse leisurely while soaking up more of the relaxed, stylish Belvedere atmosphere. This is the perfect place to have a party, reception, wedding, or any special event. But above all, this mansion is for the community.
We do not charge anything to come in. Of course, we have a donation box. But our main goal is for the community of Claremore and the surrounding communities all the way to Tulsa or up to Missouri or what have you. The feeling that this is a home that is still being preserved for the enjoyment of the community. We want people to understand that we don't receive any outside funding. We don't get any city, state, or federal funding of any kind. So the way that this house is maintained is strictly by donations and the wonderful community involvement that we have down here at the Belvedere.
So bring your family to the Belvedere Mansion soon for a memorable experience.
All right, we have lots more coming up.
Dino's going to go into a gelato-induced coma. And we can have some more stories for you as well. Like a high-tech way to explore an Oklahoma treasure hunt when AAA's Discover Oklahoma returns in 2 short minutes. Stay with us.
We had some family members that had switched to AAA, and they kept telling us how much money they were saving and kept telling us that we should look into it. And so we decided that we should go see what we could do. We have 3 kids, and there's not a lot of money left at the end of every month, and so any penny that you can save is a big deal. AAA was something I always heard of when I was growing up, and when people talked about it, they talked about it in a reliable way. And so when we switched to AAA, it was something that we just trusted from the beginning. It ended up saving us quite a bit. Our car insurance alone saved us probably about $600 a year. Our life insurance, we were actually able to double our coverage, and our premium still went down close to about half as well. Again, it's not something you ever want to think about as you grow up and become a grown-up with a family, but it's definitely something that you need to have. Having insurance is important. Having affordable insurance that you can trust is a blessing.
Welcome back to AAA's Discover Oklahoma, exploring indoor-outdoor destinations this week and enjoying the best of both worlds as we sit here enjoying the ambiance of the Devon Energy Center in downtown Oklahoma City.
And also trying to balance this because I am going to finish it by the
If
end
it kills
of the
you,
show.
because that's the kind of reporter you are.
I'll take one for the team right here. We're also balancing our indoor destinations with a healthy dose of the outdoors.
Our Shel Wagner has found a way to get her indoor daughters interested in the out of doors with just a sense of adventure and a little electronic gadget, which she promises is not a cattle prod.
If your kids are into electronics, and what kid isn't, you may share my fear that our kids are spending too much time in the virtual world and not nearly enough time in the real world. Well, I've recently found a way to bridge the two: geocaching. So what is geocaching? It's a hobby built around a website that lists GPS coordinates that lead treasure hunters to hidden caches of goodies placed in remote areas by other geocachers.
Go to www.geocaching.com and you can start getting the coordinates and go from there. The best way I could describe it, it's a GPS scavenger hunt. You go online and you can get the latitude and longitude, the coordinates to the geocache, and take your GPS. There's apps on your mobile phone now you can download, and you can geocache off of your phone.
That's right, we're talking a treasure hunt led by those alluring electronics. Brilliant. My girls were easily sold on the idea. We chose Romano State Park to be the setting of our first geocaching experience, which is ironic in a way because these rugged, secluded canyons were once a favorite hideout for legendary outlaws. The evidence is convincing that much of that stash still lies beneath the veneer of sod in our state, and perhaps one day we'll graduate to that level of treasure hunting. But I believe in baby steps, and today the goal is simply to lure the kids outdoors with a little help from technology. There are more than 1 million geocaches worldwide and about a dozen here in Romano State Park alone.
You could spend a whole day out here looking for geocaches easy.
Pretty soon, while in pursuit of one particular geocache, my girls became completely distracted by the magic of the natural surroundings and forgot momentarily about the goal and the gadget. They preferred to kick off their shoes and wade through chilly spring water pools and to pursue the lofty pastime of, well, poking things with sticks. My plan was working. Eventually, we did get back to our treasure hunt. The satellite technology will get you close, and then sometimes there are cryptic clues on the website that can help you from there. But the search really comes down to patience and a keen eye. The challenge makes the success of finding the cache even sweeter.
The most difficult ones are the most obvious ones. They're hidden right there in plain sight, and they just blend so well with the scenery that you'll look over it several times before you stumble on it finally.
It's a tradition of geocaching to bring along a trinket to replace what you take from the cache.
A lot of people have little trade items, take something, leave something, as little knickknacks, marbles, G.I. Joes, whatever.
Then it's customary to sign the logbook that you were here, and then replace the box where you found it so future geocachers can have the same fun you had. And we did have fun, spending the day in this breathtaking environment, putting our heads together to navigate through the forest. And in the end, even if it was just for a day, we traded an App Store game of Angry Birds for a brush with some non-animated, honest-to-goodness, real-life birds. And my bet is that long-term, the memories made in the real world will outlive those made in the virtual world, hands down. In Romano State Park in Watonga, I'm Shel Wagner.
All right, we're not finished yet, so don't go away.
We are really going to get your taste buds going. Check out the Fresh from the Farm Fair when AAA's Discover Oklahoma returns right after this.
In early April of this year, we had one of the most violent hailstorms I've ever seen in my life. And my wife called me, and you could hear the noise over the telephone. By the time I got home, got out here from town, there was hail everywhere. Baseball, size hail, golf ball, everywhere. My truck was beat to pieces. It was a pretty violent hailstorm. I called my AAA agent, Gary Wise, a friend of mine, asked him what the procedure was, give me the phone numbers, we need to turn this in.
We hope to always be there whenever they need us, and that is the most important client that we have, is the one that we're talking to at the time.
I feel AAA has treated me with the utmost respect. I feel like they went above and beyond to be respectful of our time and our property.
AAA definitely is there for the right reason. The president of the insurance company call and ask, what could they do to help Woodward and help our clients in their time of need.
Motor Trend asked truck owners who aren't driving a Ford to take the EcoBoost Challenge.
Ford, I'm impressed.
Ford F-150 with EcoBoost technology versus Chevy Silverado.
Silverado is struggling right now. The F-150 just totally outperformed it.
It made towing that huge boat around very easy.
I'm very surprised that it's a V6.
I would pick the Ford if I had my choice between the two.
Get an F-150 with 0% financing for 60 months or drive one for only $239 a month at your Oklahoma Ford dealer.
Welcome back. AAA makes this show possible and does a lot of other great things around our state. Here's a look at today's AAA.
Hi, Chuck May here with AAA Oklahoma. There's nothing worse than getting stranded on the side of the road. Whether you're locked out, have a flat, out of gas, or need a jump, you can count on AAA to be there for you. One of our newest features, which you won't find offered by any other National Motor Club, is the AAA Mobile Battery Service. AAA's battery service comes to you in any metropolitan area of the state for free battery testing and diagnostics. Our trained technicians will check your vehicle's charging system, starter system, battery cables, and can even detect if there's a drain on the battery that's causing failure. If your battery needs to be replaced, it can be purchased at a special member discount and installed on the spot. Plus, all AAA battery service replacements come with a 6-year warranty, and we'll recycle the old one for free. Just one more way AAA keeps you on the go. To learn more, visit AAA.com.
AAA for the ones who matter most to you.
We are discovering indoor-outdoor destinations this week, and this next destination, this next location, well, it actually has a healthy helping, if you will, of both the indoors and the outdoors.
It does. It's the Living Kitchen Sustainable Farm, not too far from Bristow, where everything that's going to be on your table is either raised there at the farm or bought locally. You end up with the best of gourmet and the garden.
This is the roasted eggplant and garlic bisque.
Like all good farm cooking, nearly every scrumptious bite they'll serve you at the Living Kitchen Sustainable Farm was produced locally, and much of it right here on these 7 acres. It's tasty and wholesome as farm fare should be, but it's also chic, creative, and thoughtfully prepared.
Bibi has topped it off with a goat cheese crouton. And the goat cheese, of course, came from here, from our goats that we milk twice a day. And the actual crouton came from Farrell Organic Bakery. So please enjoy.
It all started with the dreams of 2 young visionaries. Lisa Merrill takes special pride in what's growing on this sustainable farm, especially down Tomato Row, because these heirloom varieties are a family legacy.
Some of these my dad has actually developed. He's known as the Tomato Man in Tulsa. That's actually what brought me here, was just that I knew that at some point I wanted to learn what he was doing. And met Bibi, and she just was getting frustrated with the whole restaurant thing, and when she was learning how unsustainable the restaurant industry can be as far as waste and fossil fuels and things like that. So it was kind of her dream to be able to just have a chalkboard special with what came out of the garden that day.
As proof dreams can come true, Chef Bibi Beckland is in the farm kitchen cooking up a seasonal menu built of locally produced goodies. And today's lineup is laced with lavender, even the pizza.
And a little interesting little twist to it, of course, is throwing some herbs or some lavender in there. And of course, for this lavender dinner, and there.
Atop Bibi's hand-tossed crust, locally grown mushrooms, and the fresh goat cheese they make right here. Even the homegrown lamb is smoked over lavender. This isn't a meal to be gulped. These are delicacies to be savored slowly, so you don't miss any of the subtle flavors, textures, or colors. And it's a menu with a message about the value of cooking seasonally and buying locally.
Going to your farmer's market right there cuts down on emissions, because most of the food in our grocery stores travel in, at least especially from Oklahoma, come in from California. It's really easy to get your food at the farmer's market and make a global difference. Not only that, but the money that you spend there stays in Oklahoma, making our economy grow.
Outside, Lisa gives guests a tour of their small, self-sustaining operation. Come on, guys! Which means meeting the sheep and goats and the watch llama, feeding the kids, and collecting the eggs. But what Lisa and Bibi are really growing here and serving to guests is a moral about living a sustainable lifestyle.
They just leave really invigorated and just kind of inspired to maybe do some things a little differently.
We are thankful to you for coming along with us as we explore some indoor-outdoor destinations around our state.
With some great food, coffee, and gelato along the way. I am going to finish this, by the way.
Maybe
if it
next
takes
week.
until next week, absolutely. We also want to thank the great folks at Aravalli's and the Devon Energy Centers for hosting us tonight.
Coming up next week, the Big Catch. We'll reel in big bass on McGee Creek, savor some crispy catfish and more, and test our own gills in Medicine Park. Hope you'll join us.
So until next time, remember,
there's always something to discover in Oklahoma. Production vehicle provided by the Oklahoma Ford Dealers, official partner of the Oklahoma Tourism and Recreation Department.